Yo, what is up guys, it's Lobomon for Game, and today we got an awesome matchup between Commandmon with the Dark Knightmon package versus Jesmon. So we're gonna go and start things off with James on the right. He's gonna go ahead and Digivolve in his Raising with a Commandmon blocker on the board. And then he's gonna go ahead and pass turn, thinking what he wants to do next, but he's gonna go ahead and just drop the Izzy, putting the opponent to 4, but he's gonna top 3 check, and he ends up hitting all black cards, so he's gonna go ahead and put him to 3 instead. Now, Pat's gonna go ahead and start by Digivolving a Gaussmon in his Raising, then going into a Huckmon, putting himself to 1, and then from here it looks like he's just gonna pass turn by playing a Huckmon on the board. He's gonna go ahead and top 5 check. He hits the Jesmon, he hits a Savior. Is that a Savior? Yes, he hits a Savior and the Jesmon, so he's gonna go ahead and grab both of those actually. So looks like he's gonna have a proper stack next turn. So now it's James' turn again, and it looks like he's gonna leave his blocker in his Raising, so he's gonna go ahead and just play another Commandmon blocker on the board, putting the opponent to 1. Then Pat counterplays it by playing the Ty on the board, so he puts him back to 3, since Izzy will reset him back to 3, and Ty will reset Pat back to 3, so there's no memory choking at this point. He's going to Digivolve over his Commandmon blocker with another blocker on the board, which is Sildramon, and then drops a third Commandmon blocker on the board. Now it's Pat's turn again, and I guess he's trying to figure out if he wants to bring the Huckmon out to the board. But it looks like he's just going to keep it in Raising and Digivolve over with a Savior Huckmon. He does miss the Digivolving effect since it's in Raising, but I believe that's actually the smarter play just because he can avoid either Iron Fist or the Ultimate Flare, just in case if James had it in hand. So he's going to go ahead and pass turn by putting him to 3 again, by playing the Red Memory Boost, top 4 check, and he does hit a couple of good choices here actually, so I'm not too sure what he wanted to go and add at first, just because he's checking his hand, but he decides to go ahead and add the Jesmon, that way he can go ahead and prep it up for next turn. And now it's James' turn again, and it looks like he's gonna go ahead and decide to leave his Commandmon blocker in his Raising, and he Digivolves over it with the Skull Knightmon, that way he can go ahead and prep up for Dark Knightmon play next turn, if I'm not mistaken. He's gonna go ahead and drop the Commandmon on the board, resetting the opponent back to 3. Pat's gonna go ahead and promote his Savior Huckmon, and he's gonna pop the Red Memory Boost to go ahead and Digivolve over into a Jesmon. And wow, look at that alternate art. He's always dropping that alternate art. And then he's gonna Digivolve his Huckmon into an ST1 Greymon, putting himself to 0. His Jesmon's gonna go ahead and swing into Security. He's gonna go ahead and pop up the effect to go ahead and drop, I believe, Blank to go ahead and draw 1. Gonna restand, and because he has the Bao Huckmon and his Digisources, he's gonna go ahead and pop the Commandmon blocker. So he's gonna go ahead and check for 2 if I'm not mistaken. Yep, that's 2 checks. Then he's gonna go ahead and swing again for another 2. And then from here, he's gonna go ahead and drop the Seal to go ahead and gain an additional memory, doing 2 checks again. First check, second check, lives through both. Then he's gonna go ahead and Digivolve over his Greymon with the level 5 Blitzer. He's gonna go ahead and swing, or attempt to swing into Security. And from here, I'm not too sure if James wanted to go ahead and block, but he just decided to let it go through. It does survive, so it's gonna be James' turn, and I don't think there's a way he can come back from this game just because of the fact that Pat's board is pretty wide. He only has 1 blocker on the board. I believe he's still on the breeding phase, and he's debating if he wants to go ahead and promote or not, but I'm not too sure if it makes a difference or if it changes anything. But he's gonna go ahead and decide to promote it anyway. And then from here, he's gonna go ahead and drop the Dark Knightmon on top of it, putting him to 0. And so there's nothing much James can really do from here unless he can set up multiple blockers, but it's really impossible at this point. So he's just gonna play the Iron Fist to take out the Jesmon, and then Pat's gonna swing with his Blitz for game. Now we're gonna go ahead and head into game 2. So for game 2, James decided to go ahead and let Pat go first. And looking at Pat's hand right now, he does actually have a bricky hand. I saw a couple of options and maybe 1 Digimon. Yeah, so he's gonna drop the Huckmon. He's gonna top 5 check. He does hit the Jesmon, Sistermon, and a Huckmon. So it looks like he's gonna go ahead and add the Huckmon and Jesmon together first. Looking at his hand, how he wants to go ahead and set up, I would definitely add the rookie, that's for sure. And so he looks dead set on the Jesmon and Huckmon, but he's actually giving it a second thought, and I think he's just gonna add the Sistermon and the Huckmon instead, just because of the fact that he wants to cycle in a different way, and I guess Jesmon was way too early. And so it's James' turn, and he's gonna go ahead and start by Digivolving his Raising with a Commandmon. Then he's gonna go ahead and drop the Deadly Axemon. Top 5 checking, he's gonna go ahead and hit the Dark Knightmon, adding it to hand, passing Pat to 1. Pat's gonna Digivolve in his Raising with the Huckmon that he just grabbed from last turn. Then he's gonna go ahead and Digivolve over with the ST1 Greymon again, forcing James to be back at 1. And so James is gonna go ahead and drop return, debating if he wants to go ahead and promote, but he actually just drops the Izzy and does land all black colored cards, so he's gonna gain the additional memory. I believe putting Pat back to 2, which is actually really good. And so now it's Pat's turn. He's going to go ahead and decide to leave his raising alone, not promoting it just because of the fact that he only has 2 memories to work with. I mean, he does have the Grav Crush, which he's about to play. He's going to put himself to 4. Then he's going to go ahead and drop the Seal, if I'm not mistaken, to gain that additional memory. Then he decides to go ahead and play Judgment Blade on the Hookmon, that way he can go and swing into the Deadly Axemon. It is 4k, so it's actually going to go ahead and kill it off instead of trading, which is actually really beneficial for Pat's side. And right here, James is just double checking to make sure if he has a play to follow up next turn. And from the looks of it, he doesn't want to overplay anything just because his Grav Crush will refund 2 additional memory, so he's going to pass him 1 with the Judgment Blade again, and then it's going to reset him back to 3 anyway, so he wouldn't want to overkill it by putting him at 3 first and then giving the 2 additional to put him at 5. So James is going to promote. He's going to Digivolve into a Sildramon, that way he has a blocker on the board. Then he's going to go ahead and play the Hagurumon, discarding a machine to draw 2. And then from there, Pat is still at 2 memories again. There's nothing much you can really do. But he actually does play down the Atomic Blaster to kill off both Digimons, which is actually a good trade. And Izzy's going to reset him back to 3 anyway, so it doesn't matter. James is going to Digivolve in his raising with a Commandramon blocker. Then he's going to go ahead and drop down another Deadly Axemon top 5 shot. And it looks like he whiffs this time, unfortunately. And so now it's Pat's turn again. He's starting off with 1 memory this time, which is really unfortunate. He still doesn't have the proper stack in his raising. He's still on his ST1 Greymon. Hookmon's going to go ahead and swing. It does die in security to a Commandramon. He drops down another Hookmon. That way he can go in top 5 check. He's going to add both the Blank and the Jesmon. Things are not looking too great on Pat's end. However, James is slowly catching up. So right now it's about even. He does promote his Commandramon blocker from raising. He does Digivolve it into a Skull Knightmon. And I believe this is where it's going to get interesting because Skull Knightmon's going to swing. He's going to grab the Deadly Axemon, putting it under as a Digisource. That way he can go ahead and Digivolve into the Dark Knightmon. Now it's going to go ahead and check for 2, and it does survive both checks. Then James is just going to go ahead and slap down another Commandramon, putting Pat to 2. Pat's going to go and Digivolve his Hookmon into a Bow Hookmon. He's going to go ahead and swing into the Skull Knightmon. And so after I saw that, after the match was over, I actually spoke with Pat, and Pat told me that he actually didn't know it did that at first, which is actually okay. I mean, it's understandable. I mean, you know, we can all read the cards, but sometimes we're just in the moment and we think what the better decision is without knowing all the effects. So it actually ruined his play from there. Yeah, he's just double checking the card effect now. And so he decides to go ahead and use Seal to swing over the Skull Knightmon. Since Seal is going to be 5k anyways, it does survive. He drops down the Blank to go ahead and draw 1 passing turn. Now James is going to go ahead and start off with 3 memory again. He's going to Digivolve in his raising with a Commandramon. Afterwards, he's going to go ahead and swing with his own Commandramon that's on the board. Blank's going to go ahead and block it so he can go ahead and pop off the effect with Commandramon. He does miss, unfortunately. And so what happens from here, he's going to go and drop down the Pride Memory Boost, putting Pat to 1. He does hit the Skull Knightmon, which is great, so it's going to come on the board for free. Pat's turn, he's going to go ahead and attempt to swing with his Bow Hookmon. It does survive due to it being AK because of the boost from the Seal. Then from here, he's going to go ahead and attempt to swing with the Seal actually. It is going to die this time. Then he has the Blank on the board, which is still going to go ahead and block. He plays the Red Memory Boost to go on top 4 check. And I'm not seeing a level 5 yet, unfortunately. So he's going to go ahead and add the Bow Hookmon again. And now it's James' turn. And from the looks of it, he could game it. He does have to deal with the blocker. He does have to swing 3 securities and 1 more for game. He's going to go and promote his Commandramon. He's double checking in his trash to see if he can go ahead and play Darkdramon from the looks of it. Just because I don't think there's another reason why you want to go ahead and check your trash. Unless you're looking for a card that can recur it. So he's going to go ahead and play the Darkdramon. He is at 3, so he does play the whole 13 cost, and then for each Commandramon, D-Brigade, it's going to refund 2 memories, so he's going to be back at 0. Darkdramon's going to go ahead and attempt to swing to Bow Hookmon, which clears it off. It's going to go ahead and help him control tempo for next turn if that's what he's trying to set up for. Then he's going to go ahead and attempt to swing with the Skull Knightmon, Digivolving over with a Dark Knightmon. It's going to clear off 2 securities and it still survives. Then decides to go ahead and swing with his Commandramon to clear out the final security. And then now Pat has 0 checks. He's going to go and pop out the effects. The Pokemon added that card. And then the Commandramon's actually going to go ahead and summon the Commandramon blocker on the board. He then decides to go ahead and pop his memory boost to put him at 2. Then drops another Commandramon blocker on the board, putting the opponent to 2. Now Pat's forced to use his memory boost this turn, but it's not enough memory to go ahead and get him game. He doesn't have the proper stack, he's lacking a couple resources, so he's just actually going to scoop it up from here, and then we're going to move to game 3. Now moving on to the final game, Pat's going to go ahead and decide to go first. He's going to go ahead and hatch, and he does start off strong by digivolving into the new Huckmon in his raising. Then he's going to drop the blank to go ahead and draw 1 card. And so James is going to go ahead and start off with 3 memory. He does digivolve in his raising with the blocker Commandramon, which is a good start. Then he's going to go ahead and drop down the cost 4 Commandramon to choke him to 1. Pat's going to go ahead and promote, and it looks like he just wants to rush from here. He could swing into security, but he actually does play the tie, putting James back to 3, and now he won't be memory choke for the remaining of the game. So James' turn, he's going to go ahead and promote his Commandramon blocker, and then from here, he's going to go ahead and swing first with his 5k Commandramon. It does die, which is crazy because a Savior popped out. Then he decides to go ahead and digivolve over his Commandramon with a Sildramon just because of the fact that it's still a blocker, so that's good on his end. Then he drops down the Izzy and Joe so he can gain 2 additional memory for every time Pat has 2 or more Digimons on the board. Pat's going to attempt to swing into the security, and it looks like James is debating if he wants to block it or not, but he's going to let it go through. It still does die because it does check out another Sildramon in security. And then he decides to go ahead and drop a cost 4 Huckmon. That way he can go and choke him to 1, and then he's only going to be at 3 to start off with. So not that much memory, just as if it's just a regular memory tamer. He does digivolve in his raising with a Commandramon, drops the Hagurumon to go ahead and discard a machine to draw 2. Then digivolves over it into another Sildramon, so he has 2 blockers on the board now. Pat's going to go ahead and reset to 3, so don't mind the memory gauge at 2 right now. There you go. Then from here, it looks like he doesn't have any level 4s yet, so he's going to go ahead and attempt to swing with blank first. Sildramon, the first Sildramon's going to go and block it. Then Huckmon's going to go ahead and attempt to swing again. The second Sildramon's going to block that as well. So James is keeping his security healthy. And from here, Pat decides to go ahead and make a hefty play by dropping the Asuramon on the board, putting James back to 4, which is okay in my opinion just because of the fact that he's not gaining 2 additional memory. He's going to promote his Commandramon. He does play the Izzy on the board, top 3 check. It does hit a Takumi, so he's not going to be able to refund that additional memory. Is deciding how he wants to organize his card so he can draw into the card he needs next turn. And then from the looks of it, because he's at 0, he's going to go ahead and attempt to swing first. The Commandramon does die. He's going to go ahead and activate the top check and add the Darkdramon. Then from here, he's going to go ahead and top 3 check and hits the Commandramon. So the order of effects was amazing actually. Well, he knew the top 3, but it was still a good call that way. He drops the Hagurumon to discard a machine to draw 2, and now his board is pretty wide. Now it's Pat's turn again. He's going to go ahead and promote his Gilmon from raising. And then from here, he's going to digivolve his Asuramon into a Jesmon, putting him at 0. Not too sure what he could have done here next, but I do see a Graph Crush. He could possibly play that. Yeah, he's going to go ahead and play that, give him 2 additional memory. And then he's going to go ahead and drop down the Judgment Blade for the Jesmon. Jesmon's going to go ahead and attempt to swing into one of his Digimons. Oh, it looks like he's going to play Delicate Plan first before he swings. So he's going to go ahead and swing into the Hagurumon. Hagurumon's going to be destroyed. It's not going to be blocked. He will summon out the blank from trash. That way he can go and proc off to get the recovery +1. Proceeding to go ahead and clear off 1 security. It does survive considering it is a Jesmon. And then from here, we went ahead and just did a little cut actually just because we wanted to verify a ruling when he passes turn if Graph Crush will proc off to Izzy or if Izzy procs off first. But all is resolved, so James is going to go and start off with 7 memory. He's going to digivolve in his raising with another Commandramon. And from the looks of his board, it looks like he's going to be safe next turn. So he's going to go ahead and drop the Deadly Axemon. He's going to top 5 check. And does he whiff this time? He actually whiffs again. That's pretty unfortunate. But honestly, that's perfectly fine just because he went wide. So now he's going to go ahead and attempt to swing with the Commandramon. It's going to go ahead and survive from security actually, which is pretty interesting. I don't know if that ruined his Darkdramon play, but it looks like he has enough trash or enough D-Brigade in his trash. Yeah, he's going to go for the Darkdramon play. He's going to go ahead and recur how many? It looks like 5. Yeah, I guess he's just organizing which 5. He's going to go and put them back on top, refund all the way back to 0. And then James is actually going to go ahead and attempt to swing into Jesmon since it's only 11k and there's no blockers or the seals on the board to give it 2k. So he went ahead and controlled tempo, trading it off. He drops the Ogremon to go ahead and proc off its effect to destroy the blank. And then procking off blank's effect. Now it's Pat's turn. He's going to start up with 5 memories, but I'm not too sure what he can do at this point. James established a wide board and he can pretty much swing for game next turn. So what Pat's going to do is go ahead and drop the Huckmon. He's going to go ahead and top 5 check, only adding the Bow Huckmon. he unfortunately whiffed the level 5, or I'm sorry, this game he whiffed a lot of level 4s. Now he's gonna go ahead and swing with the Bao Hakmon into the Commandramon, but James is gonna go ahead and trade it off with the Sildramon. That way he can go and pop off the effects. He's gonna plus off of those. And now from the looks of it, it looks like whether or not he wanted to go ahead and Digivolve his Hakmon over. But he's gonna go and pop the memory boost first, that way he can Digivolve over it, still being his turn. He attempted to swing into the Commandramon, but he decided to take it back and just Digivolve over it instead with the Savior Hakmon, hoping he can draw a Sistermon. But I guess he didn't, so unfortunately he didn't have a blocker that turn. And now James is gonna go ahead and start off with 5 memories. I'm sorry, 3 memories only, just because the dual tamer doesn't pop off. He's gonna promote his Commandramon, and then from here he's gonna attempt to swing for game. But before doing so, he's actually gonna Digivolve over into a Dark Knightmon, which is pretty interesting. So he's gonna go ahead and swing with the Commandramon. Commandramon's gonna go ahead and die from security. He's gonna top 3 check, does land another Commandramon on the board. And then he's gonna go ahead and attempt to swing with his other Commandramon. I guess he's trying to play around option cards from recovering, I guess, if I'm not mistaken. Then he's gonna pop off the Pagumon's effect. It's gonna miss, and then Commandramon effect is gonna go and pop off and hits another Commandramon on the board. And then from here, he's gonna go ahead and swing with the Ogremon. Ogremon hits into a Judgment Blade. Judgment Blade is gonna go ahead and bring out the blank from the trash. Blank's gonna pop off its effect to go ahead and grab the other Systemon to be under as a Digisource to recover +1. Then James is gonna go ahead and swing at his last security with the Dark Knightmon. And then if this doesn't kill anything else, then that's game. So that's pretty much it, guys. That's Sildramon for game. Thank you guys so much. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. This is Lobomon for game, signing out. Peace, guys.